His life raised questions. His death left no answers. But one man changed the approach to martial arts: Bruce Lee. Who was he really? A life behind closed doors, an end shrouded in mystery. This is the story of Bruce Lee.
Bruce Lee was born on November 27, 1940, in San Francisco, to Chinese opera actor Li Hoi Chuen and Eurasian mother Grace Ho. Due to his father's touring schedule, Bruce spent most of his early childhood in Hong Kong. His environment was filled with art, music, and theater, as his family was deeply connected to the world of Chinese performing arts. From the age of 5, influenced by his father, Bruce began appearing on film sets, and by 6, he had already played a role in Golden Gate Girl. The struggles and chaos of post-war Hong Kong shaped his character further. At school, he was intelligent and full of energy, but often rebellious toward rules. At the age of 13, a life-changing event occurred. He met Ip Man, the legendary Wing Chun master, and began studying martial arts. During these years of training, Bruce first understood the harmony between discipline, balance, thought, and movement. He soon became one of Ip Man's most promising students, but his frequent involvement in street fights alarmed his parents. Concerned for his safety and future, his family decided to send him to the United States. In 1959, at just 18 years old, Bruce left for America with only $100 in his pocket, but a mind full of vision. It wasn't simply a young man's journey. It was the beginning of a quest for identity, where body and soul would seek their place in a new culture.
New life in Seattle.
When Bruce Lee arrived in Seattle, he had to rebuild his life from the ground up. He stayed with a restaurant owner's family and worked as a waiter to pay his tuition. Meanwhile, he enrolled at the University of Washington, majoring in philosophy and psychology. It was there that he began to approach martial arts not only as a physical craft, but as an intellectual discipline. Bruce believed that the human body is an extension of the mind, and that martial arts are not merely about technique, but about the expression of thought. In Seattle, he opened his first martial arts school, the Li Jun Fan Gung Fu Institute, where he taught students of all races and backgrounds. This was revolutionary in 1960s America, where few believed in an Asian instructor's authority. Bruce taught his students not just how to fight, but how to think. He saw philosophical meaning behind every movement. During these years, he developed the foundation of Jeet Kune, proclaiming that the goal is not to follow a system, but to express oneself freely. He saw combat as a metaphor for life, to adapt, to flow, and to harmonize with change. It was also in Seattle that he met his future wife, Linda Emery, whom he married in 1964. His life was no longer that of a mere fighter. He was evolving into a revolutionary thinker.
Rise through martial arts.
In 1964, Bruce Lee made a stunning public appearance at the Long Beach International Karate Championships, where his incredible speed and precision captivated audiences. His punch was recorded at 1/500th of a second. This demonstration brought him nationwide attention, and soon he was contacted by Hollywood producers and martial arts experts. Bruce later moved to Los Angeles, where he opened another school and began teaching celebrities such as James Coburn, Steve McQueen, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. These students became both his close friends and carriers of his philosophy. In 1966, Bruce was cast as Kato in the television series The Green Hornet. The show brought him public fame, but Hollywood tried to confine him to stereotypical Asian roles. Bruce refused this limitation. He wanted to be seen not as an Asian sidekick, but as a universal hero. He began studying the aesthetic aspects of motion, analyzing rhythm, and exploring the harmony between body and camera. Bruce was one of the first choreographers to bring realism into fight scenes, demanding that actors fight with genuine energy and that every strike convey meaning. His struggle in Hollywood was not just for roles, but for cultural recognition. This battle marked the beginning of the transformation that would turn him into the dragon, who would soon shake the entire world.
Birth of Jeet Kune Do.
Between 1965 and 1967, Bruce Lee entered the most creative period of his life, during which he shaped his personal martial philosophy. He distanced himself from traditional styles and founded Jeet Kune, which means the way of the intercepting fist. He described it as a martial art free from limitations, prioritizing principles over rigid techniques, and fluid thought over fixed form. Bruce believed that a true fighter must adapt to any situation rather than follow a single style. He said, "If a man fights only in one style, he has already lost his freedom." Jeet Kune was born from the synthesis of his readings, Confucius, Lao Tzu, Krishnamurti, and Western Stoic thinkers. He taught his students the philosophy of water, to adapt when confined, to flow when released. For Bruce, this concept applied not only to combat, but to all of life. He treated his body as a laboratory and his mind as an experiment. Every movement, every breath was an inquiry into the connection between human energy and the universe. The creation of Jeet Kune became the first martial manifesto to place individual freedom above system. For Bruce, it was not just a style, it was physical zen, wisdom expressed through motion.
Hollywood breakthrough.
Hollywood was both an opportunity and a battlefield for Bruce Lee. By the late 1960s, American cinema still viewed Asian culture through narrow stereotypes. After The Green Hornet, he received few offers, as directors could not imagine him beyond the exotic helper role. Bruce rejected this and began writing his own scripts. One of his ideas, The Silent Flute, explored the harmony between body and spirit, but studios dismissed it as too intellectual. Undeterred, Bruce continued writing, teaching, and experimenting. In 1970, he befriended actor James Coburn and screenwriter Sterling Siliphant, who recognized his depth and originality. Still unable to find meaningful roles in Hollywood, Bruce decided to return to Hong Kong and make his own films. This decision sparked a cinematic revolution. Partnering with Golden Harvest Studios, he starred in The Big Boss, 1971, which shattered box office records across Asia. Bruce Lee quickly became an international phenomenon. He created a new archetype, not just an Asian hero, but a modern human being combining physical intelligence with moral strength.
Age of the Dragon.
After the success of The Big Boss, Bruce Lee became the most recognized figure in Asia. He followed up with Fist of Fury, 1972, and Way of the Dragon, 1972, each more successful than the last. In Fist of Fury, he became a symbol of national pride, embodying China's spiritual resistance to Western imperialism. Way of the Dragon marked his directorial debut, where he revolutionized the structure of fight scenes. He choreographed action like a symphony, balancing rhythm, emotion, and visual symbolism. The film's climactic duel, Bruce Lee versus Chuck Norris at the Roman Colosseum, remains one of the most realistic and aesthetically powerful fight scenes in cinema history. Through this scene, Bruce portrayed not just combat, but man's confrontation with his own instincts. He worked not merely as an actor, but as a director, choreographer, and philosopher. His films blended music, editing, rhythm, and physics, forming what later became the visual foundation of modern action cinema. Bruce paid close attention to collaboration, energy flow, and the organic rhythm within the body. His 1973 film, Enter the Dragon, became the first major production to unite Eastern and Western cultures in a single martial narrative. Tragically, shortly before the film's premiere, Bruce Lee died unexpectedly, but by then, he had already become a legend. The Age of the Dragon had ended, but his energy lived on in the world's collective memory.
The Philosopher.
Bruce Lee was not merely a martial artist. He was a philosopher who turned the body into an instrument of thought. His writings and journals were posthumously compiled into Tao of Jeet Kune, now considered a foundational text in martial philosophy. Bruce believed that physical movement is the language of the spirit and that martial arts serve as a path to self-discovery. He taught his students not just technique, but the freedom of thought. He urged them to find their own path, not to imitate their teacher. "If my words change your thoughts," he said, "then they are my path, not yours." This made him not only a martial master, but also a philosopher of personal freedom in the 20th century. His teachings integrated psychology, Zen Buddhism, and Western philosophy. Bruce saw combat as meditation, the body in motion while the mind remains fully present. The greatest victory, he believed, was not over others but over one's own fears and limits. He defended the principle of no form. Movement is alive. To codify it is to kill it. His insights influenced modern sports psychology and motivational theory. By the end of his life, Bruce Lee had transcended the label of fighter. He had become an idea.
Final days.
In the spring of 1973, Bruce Lee stood at the peak of his career, but was physically and mentally exhausted. He had begun filming Game of Death while simultaneously managing the international release of Enter the Dragon. The grueling schedule of training by day and writing scripts by night weakened his body, leading to severe headaches and insomnia. On May 10, 1973, during a test shoot in Los Angeles, he collapsed and was hospitalized. Doctors diagnosed cerebral edema, brain swelling, though its cause remained unclear. He recovered temporarily, but never fully regained his strength. On July 20, 1973, while visiting actress Betty Ting Pei in Hong Kong, Bruce collapsed again and could not be revived. The official cause was listed as brain edema, yet speculation arose. Allergic reaction, medication side effects, or even conspiracy theories. His sudden death shocked not only his family, but the entire world. At just 32 years old, he died at the height of his power. The premiere of Enter the Dragon occurred only 6 days later, becoming one of the most successful martial arts films in history. The world realized that though his body was gone, a new era, the Bruce Lee era, had begun.
Legacy lives on.
Bruce Lee's death stopped his body, but set his ideas in motion. His wife Linda Lee Cadwell and son Brandon Lee continued to preserve and spread his legacy. Throughout the 1970s and 1980s, Bruce's teachings and films reshaped Western martial arts culture. His influence gave rise to icons like Jackie Chan, Jet Li, Donnie Yen, and later Tony Jaa. The core principles of realistic choreography, agility, rhythm, and artistic balance in modern action cinema stem directly from Bruce Lee's work. He redefined the dynamic relationship between camera and body, treating editing rhythm as an extension of physical movement. In Enter the Dragon, he merged Eastern philosophy with Western cinematic language, creating a new genre, philosophical action cinema. His writings are now studied at Harvard, Oxford, and Peking University in courses on applied philosophy and psychology of movement. His concepts extend beyond sports, influencing leadership, creativity, and motivation. Bruce demonstrated that when the mind controls the body, man becomes limitless. His legacy endures in every martial arts dojo, every film set, and every motivational stage. He turned silence into motion, and motion into philosophy. Bruce Lee claimed his place in history not through flesh, but through energy.
Cultural impact.
After Bruce Lee's death, the global film industry transformed. His films dissolved the cultural barriers between East and West, introducing Eastern philosophy into Western popular culture. By the mid-1970s, the Kung Fu boom swept across the world. Millions began practicing martial arts inspired by his movies. His movements reflected not just physical strength, but intellectual depth, turning him into a global idea rather than a mere actor. Enter the Dragon grossed over $400 million, becoming the highest-earning Asian production of its era and paving the way for Asian actors in Hollywood. Bruce Lee became a symbol of Asian American identity, a proud yet philosophical hero. Western audiences, for the first time, saw an Asian protagonist who was powerful, intelligent, and free. His films depicted not only combat, but moral resistance to social injustice. Fist of Fury criticized colonial arrogance, while Way of the Dragon offered a cultural response to Western stereotypes. By the 1980s and 1990s, his influence extended beyond cinema into music, fashion, and global youth culture. In hip-hop, his image and quotes became symbols of rebellion and inner freedom. Groups like Wu-Tang Clan adapted his philosophy into their art. The be water concept evolved into a universal metaphor for adaptability, resilience, and transformation in the modern world.
Spirit of freedom.
At the heart of Bruce Lee's philosophy lay the pursuit of freedom, both physical and mental. He believed that true human potential emerges only when one breaks free from systems, traditions, and fears. Empty your mind, be formless, shapeless, like water, he said, capturing a life principle, not just a martial one. In his philosophy, Zen tranquility merged with Western rationalism. He viewed the balance between reason and instinct, motion and stillness, order and chaos as the essence of human nature. His writings, such as When You Understand Your Body, You Understand Yourself, offered a new psychological insight. Jeet Kune Do was more than a fighting system. It was a life doctrine built on spontaneity, flexibility, and constant evolution. He sought not perfection, but process. I do not repeat, I evolve, he declared. His philosophy influenced business leaders, athletes, and creative thinkers alike. From Apple's Think Different campaign to elite sports training, his Create Your Own Way principle became a source of inspiration. Today, Be Water is more than a quote. It stands as a cornerstone of 21st century thought on adaptability and freedom.
Eternal flame.
In just 32 years, Bruce Lee left an indelible mark on humanity's cultural, philosophical, and artistic evolution. His life became a symbol of discipline, creativity, and spiritual strength. His resting place at Lakeview Cemetery in Seattle attracts thousands of visitors from around the world each year. He is remembered not just as an actor or martial artist, but as a bridge between civilizations. His son Brandon Lee followed in his footsteps, but tragically died during the filming of The Crow, turning the Lee family into legend. In 1999, Time magazine named Bruce Lee one of the 100 most influential people of the 20th century. A museum in his honor opened in Hong Kong in 2005, and exhibitions celebrating his legacy were held worldwide on his 73rd birthday in 2013. Today, his ideas continue to inspire fields such as motivation, meditation, and physical training. His life and words remind us that humanity's greatest victory lies not in conquering others, but in overcoming one's own fears. Bruce Lee lives on, not through his body, but through his energy, in every motion, every inspiration, every liberated soul. He once said, "I will not live forever, but my idea will." And that idea, that eternal flame, still burns. Thanks for watching. If you want to learn facts about Nikola Tesla that are not mentioned anywhere else, watch the video.